Good morning, everybody. My name's Dave Lynch, and welcome to another Newton Falls Morning Briefing coronavirus broadcast. Those of you that are watching this and are thinking it's deja vu, it sort of is because we actually began this broadcast today for May 30th, about 40 minutes ago, and then the audio portion of our stream disappeared, which meant that the second half of the broadcast was done without any audio whatsoever, and there wasn't anything we could do about it. So we've decided to redo the entire broadcast from the beginning afresh here for May 30th. So hang in there, folks. Hopefully the audio portion will hang in there. And so we'll start from the very top again. We do these broadcasts Monday through Saturday, and we want you to pay attention to what the state and the federal government are saying, but we bring you a perspective from Newton Falls in particular, which is very informative for our citizens. Well, on our live line is someone who's doing something unique and exciting, starting a new church in Newton Falls right in the middle of this pandemic. And Brent Erb, the new pastor of the Newton Falls Life Church, is on the live line right now. Good morning, Pastor. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for coming on. What inspired you to start a new church in Newton Falls in the middle of the pandemic?
Well, we are a campus church, and our main campus in Leavittsburg was approached about planning a campus church in Newton Falls. And so our pastor approached me and my wife if we would be interested and pray about heading to Newton Falls to start this church. And so we prayed about it and didn't have to pray too long. We felt that this was what God had been preparing us for in ministry. And so we jumped in and started to prepare to get our church up and running.
It's outstanding. And is this your first church as a new pastor?
This is the first church as the pastor. I've been an associate pastor,
Right.
To youth and family before.
But this is the first time you're in charge of the church now. How does it feel to be hit with this responsibility at this time?
Well, it can be a little overwhelming and challenging, but, when we felt God pull us into this, we jumped in with both feet, and we just are trusting Him to lead us and prepare the way as we walk in faith with Him.
Sure.
So
now this new church is located in Newton Falls. We're excited about that. What's the address, Pastor?
it is 20 West Quarry Street. We're actually just up from the city park.
Great. And in addition to that, your services are at 6 o'clock on Saturday evenings. In fact, you've already had 2 services already. Is that right?
Yes, we have. And our official launch date, where we're going to have our grand opening at the campus, will be June 27th.
June 27th. And will that be at the Newton Falls location?
Yes, it will be.
That's great. And you're also going to be preaching tonight. Today's a Saturday at 6 o'clock. Is Saturday at 6 o'clock going to be the normal worship time for your new congregation?
Yes, it will be to start. And so we're excited to offer a different option and time for people who may not be able to make it on Sundays if they have to work.
Yeah, yeah, that's outstanding. Well, Pastor, so tonight is your 3rd service. What have you been doing in terms of dealing with the pandemic itself? What precautions are you taking in order to comply with the concerns of the state and to satisfy your own concerns for the pandemic safety of your congregation?
Well, we have hand sanitizer as you come into the building, and we encourage and ask that people would use the hand sanitizer. And we do have disposable masks if somebody would like to wear one. Lots of people have been bringing their disposable masks or their homemade ones, just in keeping with that order. And we also have blocked off every other row of our pews so that the social distancing is being practiced and everybody feels safe and comfortable.
Well, that is outstanding. Well, tonight's your third preaching at this new location, and we urge everybody to support your church. That 6 o'clock time is a lot easier for those folks that are tied up going to church on Sundays. So, folks, you can do both. Pastor, what has your message been during these early infant stages of your church?
Well, being that we are in a time of unknowns in this pandemic, people are fearful, can become depressed, and we've just been preaching on hope and looking to God to get us through. And when we depend on Him, even though things are rough and tough, we are able to get through, and He will give us strength to do that.
Yeah. And by the way, folks can reach the church by dialing 330-898-1131 and an email address, excuse me, a website address of lcogoh.com. And that's the Life Church, Newton Falls Life Church right at 20 West Quarry. Well, just talk on a personal level for a minute, Pastor. Where did this inspiration come from? This isn't an easy thing to do, and there are a lot of other paths of life that a young man and his family can pursue. What put you on this path for you?
Well, in high school, I had received or we call the call to ministry while at youth camp. And, when God calls us into ministry, it doesn't make sense. And, but, I decided that I would answer that calling, and I went to college, prepared for it, and I enjoy it. I love meeting with people, ministering to people, and just following what God has for me. It's an exciting ride. It's not always easy. It can be tough at times, but it's always fulfilling.
Yeah, Pastor, during these difficult times, and for a lot of other reasons, people are hurting right now, aren't they? And there's a hunger for what you can bring to them, isn't there?
Yes. No matter what we're going through, God is always waiting, and He's always willing to meet us where we're at, no matter where we're at, whether we're sick, whether we're running away from Him or trying to keep Him away. He is waiting, and He always offers hope.
Well, it's a wonderful message, Pastor. Thank you so much. We encourage people to get over to 20 West Quarry tonight at 6 o'clock and every Saturday night at 6 o'clock. If you have questions, dial 330-898 and 1131, 898-1131. Pastor Brent Erb, congratulations to you. Thank you for what you are bringing to our community. A grateful city of Newton Falls appreciates you're diving into this very spiritual and desperately needed work. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
All right. Peace and health to your family. And that was Pastor Brent Erb. Well, talking about changing directions during a broadcast, we're going to do that in a pretty significant way right now because we're going to be talking to Brian Thunberg from the Regional Income Tax Agency. Important to us.
Good morning, this is Brian.
Yeah, hi, Brian. Dave Lynch over at Newton Falls. How are you this morning?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great. Thanks for coming on our broadcast. Brian, you are with the Regional Income Tax Agency, and that agency obviously is important to the survival of communities like Newton Falls because you collect our payroll tax and otherwise the income tax. Tell me, during the pandemic, how is Northeast Ohio being affected generally?
Thank you for having me on the show this morning. Northeast Ohio, along with the rest of the state of Ohio, has been impacted in various ways. One of the ways is because of the filing deadline was moved from April 15th to July 15th. So that's going to impact collections for every municipality. For taxpayers who typically pay in April, now those folks are going to be paying on the filing deadline, or the majority of them are going to be paying on the filing deadline in July, which then actually there's a delay in collection. So typically monies that municipalities would receive in April, they're now going to start to receive in July.
Wow. And I'm sure that affects their planning, but apart from that, I'm sure that from an operational standpoint, the Regional Income Tax Agency, RETA, you've had to change your procedures. How have you been able to handle things in that regard?
Well, and that's a great question, and we've had to do that. RETA is taking every possible precaution to protect the health and safety of its employees and its taxpayers while we continue to deliver a high-quality service. And in doing that, we've kept our offices open internally and for essential services. However, we've suspended taxpayer walk-in traffic at this time. We have also been able to finalize plans for later on this year. So folks, when they do come in, we have a plan in place when we reopen that up. But more importantly, our online assistance is available for all taxpayers where they don't have to leave their house. They can stay in the safe and security of their own home and file their taxes. We have several online applications that they could use. They're very simple, they're safe, they're convenient. They could file their returns, make payments, they can review their account information, and they can also send secure messages through their My Account. That's one way. And then also we do have our telephone, our customer services available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then you can also use the 24/7 automated system where, again, you could dial in at any time and you can review tax payments or make sure that any estimated payments have been paid.
Sure. And folks can contact RETA directly through the free 800 number, 800-860-7482, and folks can avail themselves of that. And by the way, I want people to understand a little bit about the Regional Income Tax Agency. This isn't just an organization that helps collect taxes for just a few communities. Tell people about the scope of the number of subscribers you have and the amount of general annual revenue that you have to process.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so the Regional Income Tax Agency is just not in Northeast Ohio. Actually, we're in 77 of the 88 counties in Ohio. We have 327 member municipalities that we contract with to administer income tax. And last year in 2019, the Regional Income Tax Agency eclipsed $1.5 billion in collection.
Let me stop you for a minute. 1.5 billion with a B, right?
Yes, sir. $1.5 billion.
That is something. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
Oh, no. That's one of the reasons that RETA is so successful, because this is a partnership with our municipalities, and all the costs are shared between all 327 municipalities. That's the reason why we can make it affordable for any municipality to join RETA, to come on board with us and to be successful, and we can keep our costs low. That's why we deliver high-quality service to not only the taxpayers, but also to the membership as well.
Well, Brian, you've been staying in touch with our finance director, Anna Musson, and we found that we have easy access to you and the information regarding our tax collections on a very accessible basis. And since we converted from collecting our own income taxes with our own staff people, the cost of collecting our income tax has gone down dramatically in Newton Falls, and we just appreciate that kind of efficiency.
And I appreciate that too, sir. And Newton Falls is one of those great success stories that we see time and time again when municipalities are very hesitant or they're not sure, if they want to make that move or not. But once they make the transition and we're able to implement all of the services that we can provide to the city, it is definitely cost effective for the city to do so, while they still have staff in the office to handle maybe a walk-in taxpayer or two that may have a question that just wants to walk down to City Hall.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that we've noticed is that 1.5 billion in annual collections, over 300 different municipalities are subscribing, and yet little old Newton Falls, as a smaller community, gets that personal A-plus service and response. And what a comfort and consolation it is to us as we try to figure out how we deal with the depression and the payroll generally because of the COVID-19. Now we know that we've got a reliable partner. It sure gives us a great sense of confidence, Brian.
And it does. And, sir, we attribute that to our member services department. Our member services department is comprised of 10 individuals here in Northeast Ohio and also down in our Columbus office in the city of Worthington. And our main responsibility is to keep in contact and keep our thumb on the pulse of all of our municipalities around the state of Ohio. And that's what makes this partnership great, is because the administration has one contact person that they can call if they have a question. The taxpayers have all of our customer service representatives available. So not only does the taxpayer get the benefit of customer service, also the administration does as well.
Well, it's been a great comfort to our municipality, to our council people, and also to the folks in our finance department. So, Brian, thanks for everything you do over at the Regional Income Tax Agency, lovingly known as RITA, and reminding folks the number is 800-860-7482, and they will be responsive. Well, Brian, thanks again to RITA. Thanks for spending some time with us. Peace and good health to you and your family.
Thank you. You too, sir. Have a great weekend, and we'll be talking soon.
All right. Thanks again. Brian Thunberg from the Regional Income Tax Agency. Well, folks, it's been quite a morning that we've had here. We started the broadcast, and then we lost our audio, and so then we redid the broadcast all over again. So save that earlier broadcast for historical purposes. I want to thank the patience of Tom Gregory and Gregory Films. He helps us get through these difficulties. And remember, he's doing these broadcasts, the morning briefings, at zero cost to the taxpayer. Zero, not 1 cent is spent in doing these things. And he's throwing little breadcrumbs of kindness out into the water. And we really appreciate that. If folks want to communicate with me directly, and I want you to do so if you have an issue, go to our phone number, the city manager's office, 330-872-0806. Folks, it's a lot more effective than putting some message out on Facebook, because I don't look at all the Facebook locations and all the messages, and that's not a way to communicate with me. Facebook is a series of stages out there that you can walk up on and start saying what do you have to say, but there may not be an audience. And the people you want to communicate with may not be in the audience. The other thing that happens is that if you communicate with me directly, there may be some fact or piece of information you're putting out on Facebook that isn't right, and I can get you the correct information before you go out and do that. And sometimes putting out incorrect information that other people see just causes confusion. Remember, communicate with kindness and good intention. That doesn't mean you can't be critical, but frequently Facebook just becomes kind of a forum for people to ratchet up the darts, rotten things, and frequently four-letter words they say at each other. And citizens of Newton Falls, you are better than that. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of another broadcast. The council meeting on Monday, I want to remind everybody, is open to the public fully, and we've been able to do that by having it at the football stadium. We are required to send out the proper notices a couple of days before the council meeting. That's why that message went out yesterday in compliance with our charter, in compliance with state law, that at the high school football stadium at 6 o'clock, is where we will have the meeting. You will not be able to call in to get your message through, and the reason for that is you can be present. We've set it up with the proper social distancing, and we didn't really make it public, not just because the deadlines are such that we're not required to, but also because we've been watching the weather. And it's foolish to talk about an event being outside too many days in advance. Well, we're comfortable now with the reports we've been getting from AccuWeather that Monday will be a clear day. So come in person to the council meeting, as we've always had you do. There are no call-ins, and be there. We've set up the technology where you can address the council directly, and we set up the requirements for separate groupings and social distancing so that everybody can be safe. Well, folks, as I get to the end of the broadcast, I always say, rely on your Heavenly Father. Pastor Herb over at the Newton Falls Life Church is certainly a good reminder of that. I also want to say thanks to Mayor Ken Klein, because he was the one that's been keeping me informed about this new church, and the mayor, like everybody else on council in our community, wants to support these new endeavors, especially a new dynamic young pastor trying to get the message of God out into the community. Well, folks, as I say at the end of each broadcast, God bless America and God bless the city of Newton Falls.